What's up guys, we're all here with YugaTech, and a couple weeks back, we did our unboxing and hands-on video on the Redmi Note 11. To sum it all up, it's got a 6.6-inch display, Snapdragon 680 processor, dual rear cameras, and a 5000 mAh battery. Well, we were to spend a good amount of time with the Redmi Note 11, and here's our thoughts about it. Right off the bat, the Redmi Note 11 feels solid and well built for its class. Although it doesn't have a unibody design, everything feels intact and rugged. The back is made out of a polycarbonate matte textured finish, although it still does attract oils and smudges. It's a little bit hard to clean, so putting a case on this device is a must. We dig the boxy form factor, making it very comfortable to hold. There's also a subtle chrome accent on the side and in the camera module. And speaking of its cameras, the quad camera module has a slight protrusion, making it wobble on a table when laid flat. The unit we have is in the star blue colorway, but you can also choose between graphite gray and pearl white colorway depending on your preference. Up front, we have a 6.43-inch display with a decent sized bezels and a slightly thicker chin. Residing at the top of the display is the front-facing camera. Moving over to the buttons and ports, we have the SIM card slot with a dedicated micro SD card on the left side, side-mounted fingerprint scanner and volume rockers on the right side, speaker grills, microphone, and a USB Type-C port at the bottom, and another speaker grill, and the good old IR blaster, secondary microphone, and headphone jack at the top. Checking out the display, we have a 6.43-inch AMOLED panel with support for 90Hz refresh rate, which has a resolution of 2400 by 1080 or equals to 409 ppi. The display is sharp, viewing angles are great, and punchy colors with deep blacks, making it an ideal tool for watching content on YouTube, Netflix, or anything alike. We also didn't encounter any issues when viewing it in broad daylight, as the display can produce up to a maximum of 1000 nits. The saturation on the display can be adjusted in the settings. Vivid is set by default, but if you want a more punchy UI, you can have it set to saturated. Or if you feel that the colors are a little too punchy, you can set it to standard. Night mode is also present, which increases the contrast, making the display ideal for viewing at night. Moving over to the speakers, well, I must say the stereo speakers in this device is loud, but they sound very tinny at maximum volumes and lacks bass. Considering its class, you can really argue in this segment, so we suggest you use a good sounding wired headset or a good sounding TWS on the side for a much better listening experience. Now when it comes to cameras, the Redmi Note 11 packs a quad camera setup consisting of a 15-megapixel primary, 8-megapixel ultra-wide, 2-megapixel macro, another 2-megapixel depth, and a 13-megapixel camera. Photos were okay, nothing too flashy for the final image. The colors look neutral with a decent amount of details. Contrast is also boosted, making the overall image look a little on the gloomy side even under broad daylight. Although when it comes to shooting using the ultra-wide lens, as expected, quality is a little less than the main camera. Portrait mode is also available and surprisingly does a pretty good job in applying blur effect, although it can be challenging for some subjects with jagged edges or loose hair. Using night mode does improve the quality of the scene in low light conditions. Shots were bright enough and the colors look more pronounced compared to when night mode is turned off. On the other hand, for selfies, skin tones look natural, colors look somewhat accurate, boosted contrast can also be observed here, and HDR is missing in action. When it comes to video, it can record up to 1080p at 30 frames per second. Like its photo quality, the colors are neutral with a decent detail. HDR on the other hand can be underwhelming, no OIS or EIS in here, making handheld videos look shaky. Do take note of that. Now when it comes to software, the Redmi Note 11 runs on MIUI 13 based on Android 11. There are bloatwares right off the box, though these apps can be removed if you don't use them. Icons, themes, and the overall UI are highly customizable from text sizes, wallpapers, home screen animations, and more. But we already like the default setting. Aside from this, you can also opt to have your home button or gesture-based navigation. Furthermore, you can also choose between the traditional app drawer or the classic all-in-one home screen in home screen. Now, out of the 64 gigs of storage that we got out of the box, we have an approximately 48 gigs of usable storage. Well, this is decent, but if you find it short, there's always a dedicated microSD card slot in the mix. Now for performance, the Redmi Note 11 comes equipped with a Snapdragon 680 4G with an Adreno 610 GPU. Our unit has the 64 gigs of internal storage plus 4 gigs of RAM. But it is also available in 128 gigs plus 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs plus 6 gigs of RAM configurations. The hardware is decent, although don't expect it to perform like flagships, so expect some hiccups. The performance is good for its caliber when doing basic day-to-day multitasking, though it can be a little challenging if there are a lot of apps running in the background, as you can experience its sluggishness. If you are interested in numbers, here are the benchmark scores that we got. These numbers are decent, but when playing graphically intensive games such as Asphalt 9 and Call of Duty at maximum graphics settings possible, frame rates can go down for up to 19 frames per second, which is not nearly as playable. Therefore, we suggest you turn down the graphics to low or medium settings for a more optimized gaming experience. With regards to connectivity, the Redmi Note 11 features Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, IR Blaster, USB Type-C, and 4G LTE. Yes, this can be a deal breaker for potential buyers, as 5G connectivity has been widely available in the country. Now when it comes to battery, we have a massive 5000 mAh capacity that promises 2 days of all-day battery life and support 33-watt fast charging, which help us charge the device from 0 to 100 in almost an hour, which is an average speed considering the capacity of the battery. In our time with the Redmi Note 11, we got 47% of battery left in our first day, in which we use it to browse the web and social media apps, navigation using Waze, and binge watching a couple of episodes of All of Us Are Dead in Netflix on mobile data. On our second day, we got 8% of battery remaining in the middle of the day. Aside from the real-world testing, we run it through the PC Mark Work 3.0 battery test, and we yielded a result of 8 hours and 14 minutes. While in our standard video loop test, we got 19 hours and 4 minutes of continuous 1080p video playback. Now the question is it hard to recommend? Well, decent is the right word to describe the Redmi Note 11, as it doesn't have any flashy features and specs. As mentioned earlier, it does have decent specs and performance, excellent display and design, but to some users, decent in everything isn't enough, especially for those who need extra power for gaming and multitasking. And if you are, you might want to look somewhere else and get ready to spend a little more. So what do you guys think about the Redmi Note 11? Do let us know in the comment section below, and if you find this video helpful, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit the bell icon so don't miss any future uploads, and be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Arel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.